According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, 8% of all Americans will develop post-traumatic stress disorder in their lifetime. In Vietnam veterans, that number is 30%. It is a crippling disorder that could lead to deadly consequences.
But tonight, 7 Eyewitness News reporter Ed Riley introduces us to one man using his pain and his past to help other vets who are struggling.
It's indescribable, you know, unless you've been shot at, you can't understand what that feels like.
In 1970, Jack Michael, a young man in his early 20s, answered the call of his country and was deployed to Southeast Asia. But Vietnam would have a profound impact on the young Marine, especially after he saw nearly 150 members of his company killed in battle.
You know, that's about the time you start going, why am I on the face of this earth?
Returning home for a family medical emergency, Michael discovered the country had turned its back on those in the military.
There were protesters out there, and they were yelling all kinds of foul things, and they would spit through the gate at you.
Even after the war, the rejection continued as Michael struggled to find work.
Whoever was interviewing you found out that I had been in Vietnam and in the Marine Corps. End of interview. You know, don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out.
The combat trauma, rejection, and anger sent Michael into a downward spiral.
And I didn't understand what was happening to me. I started to withdraw. I started to drink a lot. I started doing drugs.
By the early 2000s, Michael decided life was no longer worth living.
I was trying to push everybody out of my life who cared, so that when I killed myself, there would be no one left to mourn.
But a freak skiing accident allowed Michael to become enrolled in an extended program for combat trauma run through the Western New York VA medical system, and it changed his life.
That feeling of, oh my God, somebody understands.
Michael also began dedicating himself to helping other veterans. He now donates his time for construction projects to assist disabled and returning veterans, and helps organize the annual Kites for Vets fundraiser in Tonawanda for homeless veterans. And Jack Michael continues to counsel fellow veterans suffering with PTSD, including those incarcerated in Attica Prison.
There are consequences to combat that are lifelong.
And Jack Michael fears there is a new generation of soldiers who served in Iraq and Afghanistan who are now dealing with undiagnosed PTSD.
Ask for the help. I know we all think we're supermen and women, and we can handle it ourselves, but I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that the more I tried to be normal, the harder it was for me and the worse I got.
And he warns soldiers' families that suicide is a real concern, especially for vets who talk frequently about death and turn to drinking and drugs.
These are people saying, I need help, please somebody hear me.
For the 68-year-old combat veteran, a new revelation. His battle with PTSD did have a purpose.
That was my training. That was what God put me through for those years, so that when I go into the vets court, or I go and I talk with someone at Batavia PTSD, I can say, look, I understand. You know, I understand combat. I understand what you're going through.
And just last week, during a special ceremony here at the Buffalo VA Medical Center, Jack Michael was awarded the prestigious 4 Chaplains Legion of Honor Award for his unselfish service to others, especially veterans. Ed Riley, 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Ed. If you are or know a veteran in need of help, you can call the free 24-hour Veterans Suicide Prevention Hotline. That number, 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK.